Good morning, welcome to the ADS Securities Markets Update. We'll start our video today with another overview of what happened yesterday and the latest developments in the markets. First of all, the major event was the sharp decline in the UK inflation rate, which slowed down toward or to the lowest level since 2002 at 0.5%, down from 1%, while the estimates back then were to slow down slightly towards 0.7% only. And this reading smashed the speculation for a rate hike by the BOE in the spring, as the BOE Governor Mark Carney promised last year. However, the British pound also managed to remain steady well above 1.51 support area as mentioned in our previous reports, and the pair even rallied or recovered to as high as 51.70s in the Asian session. In the meantime, the sterling is building a solid base against the US dollar above that support, which may clear the way for further gains in the next few days. A crude oil crash continued yesterday. West Texas crude closed the day slightly higher at 46.79 after it fell to as low as 44.20s, and which was in the early morning hours yesterday. Brent crude also fell toward 45.19 before recovering slightly, but closed the day slightly lower around 46.59. And worth to mention here that West Texas crude versus Brent spread reached a zero level yesterday for the first time since 2013. The US equities began the day higher following the European equities. However, Dow Jones fell around 400 pips from the highs, and the S&P touched around 2008, and as gold-oil ratio continued or remains on the rise, reaching as high as 27, which is also the highest level since 16 years, which keeps the way open for further declines in the US equities in the next few days. As for the economic releases today, there were no economic releases in Asia, while the European session has only few key economic releases and events which likely to have only a slight impact on the markets. First of all, the European Court of Justice is expected to announce its decision regarding the constitutionality of the ECB outright monetary transaction or policy, which is likely to be announced during the session. And in addition to that, we have the Eurozone industrial production, which is expected to show no growth in November after a rise of 0.1% in October of last year. Finally, in Italy, the year-over-year CPI is likely to show, or for the month of December, is likely to show another decline by 0.1%, comparing to another decline of the same rate of 0.1%, which would be the second month in a row, or the second monthly decline in a row. Going forward to the US session today, we will be focusing on three economic releases across the day, which is likely to have another major impact during the day. The retail sales is expected to rise by 0.2% in December, comparing to a rise of 0.5% in November, while the core retail sales may rise slightly by 0.2%, comparing to a sharp rise of 0.7% during the same period. Moreover, the import prices is expected to decline further by 2.7% in December, comparing to another decline of 1.5% in November, which would be the biggest monthly decline since 2009. Furthermore, the business inventories may rise again by 0.2% in December, comparing to a rise of the same rate in November. Finally, the Bank of England Governor Mark Carney speech will be held today during the session at 14:15 GMT time, where he is likely to comment about the sharp decline in the inflation rate yesterday's and whether the BOE will change the current policy anytime soon. This is it for today. You can follow us on our social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, to get the latest economic releases, reports, and analysis. Thank you for watching.